All right, 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Thursday morning. Today is National Vietnam War Veterans Day. We honor veterans of the Vietnam War today and probably every day. This is actually the first anniversary of the day after President Trump signed into law the Vietnam War Veterans Recognition Act of 2017. It was one of the first things he did after being elected. The Department of Defense will conduct a wreath-laying ceremony today at the Vietnam Wall. And in the studio right now, we have a couple of guests to talk about a book. The book is titled Innocence Lost, the story of a Vietnam vet. This is a story without a happy ending, but we're going to learn about that. Linda Gosson is the author. Dan Addair is with Linda, and Dan is a Vietnam veteran and also an author, by the way. They're doing a book signing event on Saturday, Robin?
Yes, a week from Saturday.
Week from Saturday.
April 7th.
At the April 7th, thank you, at the Bellevue Public Library, the beautiful new Bellevue Public Library, new to me anyway. So let's find out about the book. And you both, by the way, thank you for coming in. Good morning. You both have one of my favorite publicists, Susan Schwartzman. That was impressive when I saw her name next to a local author. A lot of times local authors represent themselves, so thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you for your service.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you for your service. Yes. So let's start. Linda, your name is on the book, but am I understanding right? You are co-authors of this book?
Yes, Danny actually wrote this book, and I edited it, made it flow, and added some things to it. So it really is a compilation of the two of us together.
Oh, wow. Okay, so can I ask? If I can't, you just tell me, no, don't ask that. But can I ask why? Oh, let me put your picture on here, by the way. I got the book cover on here. There you are. Can I ask you why your name's not on the book, Dan?
My name?
Yeah, I'm confusing you with John, so.
Actually, it was to protect me during the process of the book being published and so forth, so on, because I'm still under a cloud cover from Marion County judicial system under a second-degree felony charge.
But you're on the air.
Yes, well, I don't care anymore.
You don't care anymore?
I want the public to understand what took place.
And this is from something that I don't even understand. This is because you attempted suicide?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. And that's the felony right there?
The felony charge was I fired a firearm inside a dwelling inside the city limits of Dunellen, which was my own house, and it was there was one shot fired, and the shot that was fired went into my head, and that was the severity of the charge.
Wow. And you're living to tell about it.
Yes, sir. I'm very fortunate, very fortunate.
Do you blame that decision to do that on your service in Vietnam?
I don't know what the decision really, what brought it about. I was met by two sheriff officers with 12-gauge pump shotguns after I walked to the front of the house after I had attempted suicide. And then I was EMS to Monroe Regional and CAT scan there. The head doctor there told me that I had fragment wounds to the inside of my mouth, that he felt as though nature would take care of them better. I was escorted to a recovery room on the second floor. As I was laying in the bed for recovery with 2 holes in my head and 6 IVs in my arm, the Dunellen Police Department, 2 officers came in the room and read me my Miranda rights. What reason that was for, I still don't know. 2 days later, I was sent to a center, the Vines here, the Vines here in Ocala, and I spent a period of 6 weeks under psychiatric treatment. On my release, after the 6 weeks, I walked to the glass door, and there were 2 Marion County sheriff officers waiting for me that ordered me to put my hands against the wall. They frisked me, handcuffed me, and put me in the car, took me to the Marion County jail, booked me, and I asked them what was the charge. They said probable causes.
So maybe my question wasn't clear. Do you consider what your service in Vietnam created some post-traumatic stress disorder, which we didn't even have that expression after the Vietnam War, correct?
No.
Okay, so but do you feel like that the chain of events that happened over the past 40-something years, do you feel like that's what happened to you? Do you feel like what you experienced in Vietnam changed you?
Any person that's been in the service in one way or another is affected by PTSD, in my opinion, and especially now with Iraq and Iran, Afghanistan.
Yeah.
But the Vietnam War was a different war completely. I flew helicopter medevac, which is better known as dust off. Our mission was to go into the jungles and pull out the wounded, which was pretty nasty job. And during this time, pulling them out, we were unarmed. We had the red crosses all over the helicopter. But the Geneva Convention didn't interfere with Charlie's choice to try and shoot you out of the air.
Sure, yeah.
So the experiences that I actually went through with the soldiers being armless, legless, screaming, hollering, everything. This comes back to you from
Sure,
from,
yeah. Oh my gosh, how
in many
horrible.
ways,
So in writing the book, was this a way to let the country know that you and all of your fellow veterans got a bum deal? Not any different than any other war, but the way you were treated after you came home, that was clearly different.
I was treated actually quite well by the VA. It took me quite some time. I finally achieved 100% disability. But the way the Marion County judicial system, I should not have went to jail to begin with. I should have went to the VA Medical Center, which I had seen a psychiatrist for 15 years on a monthly basis prior to this, but it seemed like that was all overlooked at the time. I'd like to mention something else here. When they put me in jail, they placed me in a 10 by 10 foot room with 3 other inmates. They rotated the other 3 other inmates. I was never rotated. I was red flagged. They fed me through a steel door with a styrofoam plate, which I had to tear apart to use as utensils to eat with.
Oh my God!
I was strip searched twice daily, after breakfast and after supper, 7 days a week.
How long were you in there?
In the 10 by 10 foot room, 4.5 months. And,
Wow.
and I will be honest with you, I may have been insane when I went in there, but when I come out, this took PTSD from Vietnam, and it took another PTSD, which I received while in jail, and glued them together. Now I deal with 2 PTSDs, not the first one. Now I have the second one.
Wow. May I ask, are you a husband and wife? Are you a married couple?
We are now.
Okay. Linda, do you have you gone to therapy together as a couple for the PTSD?
No, we haven't done that. I have met Danny's psychiatrist, and he felt that our relationship definitely gave Danny the support
I was thinking that
he needs.
Yeah, I was
now.
thinking you must be a big reason why he's anything close to being normal now, right? How long have you been married?
We've only been married since January.
Oh wow, okay.
Well, congratulations,
Thank you.
newlyweds! Yay!
So life finally is getting better.
Yes, sir. It is. It's looking uphill.
You look good, by the way. I mean, you look good. You look healthy.
I was surprised after it happened. Actually, how you can't even tell I was shot. But the bullet went in underneath the chin and came out through the upper nostril.
Wow.
And by doing so, when the bullet exploded in my mouth, that's where the fragments. It took. Even to this date, I can still feel imperfections on the inside of my mouth. But I could have come out a heck of a lot worse than I am.
Yeah. Well,
And God wanted you here.
exactly.
Believe that.
You handed me a review before we went on the air, and I read the review. I didn't realize it was a review. I thought it was either written by your son or by yourself. The person who wrote the review, first of all, gave it a really good review, and second of all, helped me understand that this story needed to be told, and it needed to be told because everybody who's going through this needs to know they're not alone. Does that sound fair? Is that why you're doing this?
I did it because I felt so cruelly sentenced, and I've always heard that Vietnam veterans never speak of their experiences over
Right.
there. Well, I'm on the opposite side. I have my ups and downs on what took place there, but I'm not afraid to speak of it, and that's why I wanted this book, was to let the public know about Vietnam veterans and also the veterans that will not speak up. Maybe I possibly was speaking for them, I hope.
There was a helicopter pilot that sort of took you under his wing for your first mission in Vietnam, and he asked you a question like, "Are you ready for Vietnam?" And then then you had written about that, and then he had asked you the question again, and it was a different perspective.
That may have been, were you speaking of Kincaid?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kincaid. When I went over there, I was supposed to be a mechanic, which I took over the motor pool. I was the only mechanic, which basically I didn't know anything. I was 18 at the time. And he knew I didn't know anything, but he guided me, and he was a crew chief on one of the choppers, and he asked me one day, he said, "Do you really want to go out and see what this war is about? We need a patient protector," which I had an M79 grenade launcher. Any shot during an LZ to distract the enemy is better than none. So I volunteered, and I had become one of the boys. Mm-hmm. And after that, more choppers. We had 6 in total. The other choppers wanted me with them, so I got quite a few hours of flying experience.
What does LZ mean?
Landing zone.
Oh, okay. So you would distract them with the grenade launcher?
If necessary.
Wow.
The other thing, I say in LZ, there was the mission that actually probably put me into PTSD was a nighttime mission in the middle of monsoon season. We were called out. We had to fly by instrument, and I looked to my left, and there was a Cobra gunship within 5 minutes beside us, and to our right there was another Cobra gunship. They radioed through our helmets that they had us like a baby in its bed, and we actually had to go into an LZ. It really wasn't an LZ. The jungles was so thick you couldn't even see the ground. This was 3 o'clock in the morning. And monkeys are kind of, they want to know what's going on. We've seen monkeys because the chopper had a light.
Animals, or is this a word that means?
No, this is a
real monkeys.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But we couldn't, we had 3 smokes popped. You dropped, they popped smokes for identification where they was at. There was 3 came up, so the 2 that didn't match the color, the Cobras came in and unloaded, but the foliage was so thick that you couldn't see the ground, and we had to drop a basket through a hole they had cut out in treetops and hover in the air for roughly, I would say, 8 to 10 minutes for them to load the patient into the basket and then us to pull him back up into the chopper.
Holy cow.
The missions were, they were all different, but this is the one, and I want to tell you something. While I was sitting in that chopper, 3 o'clock in the morning with the rain pouring down, and Charlie had just had contact within 20 minutes or we wouldn't have been there. It puts death of, the fright of death in your system that you
So
never
how many
forget.
patients did you pick up? The
whole time over there?
That mission, that one mission.
One.
And tell me the condition of the soldier.
Actually, he wasn't an American soldier. He was a Viet Cong, and they wanted him back for interrogation.
Oh wow! And you are you telling us that right now that that's probably the hardest?
That was the scaredest I was. I had went in daylight missions. Charlie likes to fight at night. That's his advantage. But the daylight missions, I actually had to pull patients into the chopper. The daylight missions you could see, but at night when you're out there with the light shining as bright as that was, and Charlie, if he would have shot that chopper out of the air, God bless he didn't, he would have got 2 pilots, a crew chief, a medic, and a patient protector, plus the Huey chopper that we were in.
Sure. Wow.
There was the instance of a pregnant Vietnamese that you told about in the story, and there was...
We were more or less like EMS over there. We were over to help the South Vietnamese, which meant that we were basically at their disposal. And we did have to go out and pick up pregnant. We called them gooks over there. But it wasn't so much, it was life-threatening 24 hours a day, because we had what they call hooch maids that come in to clean up the hooches. The reason I'm saying is you don't take a helicopter and park it out in the jungle and expect it to be there when you come back next day, so we were on a base. But during that time, the hooch maids would bring in, I suppose, their children or whatever, and at certain times of the day, not every day now, but I did see this take place, you would see this little feller, which you called your buddy, walking and counting steps from one hooch to another, which meant that night the mortar rounds would find their place to your hooch.
What is a hooch?
That is so scary.
That was a building prefabbed with a tin roof with sandbags all the way around it, about 4 foot tall, and that's where we had to sleep.
So the hooch maids were basically getting the information so they could kill you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh wow.
It 24 hours a day, you was on a constant watch. So but after a while, I got to where I really didn't. We had one pilot or one crew chief. They lent him out to a southern part of it. And I was in Phu Bai and Quang Tri up by the DMZ, and he was gone about 2 days because they were short of choppers down south. And when they sent him back, he didn't come back. They put a helmet on the slab, and that was his funeral. He got actually 2 choppers ran into each other. It was friendly kill. One Loach and one Huey ran in, and he got decapitated. His name is on the wall coming through Ocala. His name is Tom Weiss, if anybody would like to look at. He's from Wisconsin, which we had an interview the other day from Wisconsin. But I tried to get in touch with his relatives, and they rejected because they wanted to just forget him or remember him as he was and not be.
Wow. What an amazing story and an amazing interview you're giving us. Dan Addair is who you're listening to. He served us in Vietnam. He has suffered from PTSD so severely to the point where he attempted to commit suicide. That attempt actually got him arrested, and he's now a felon because of that. His wife, Linda, is in the studio with Dan, and together they have written the book called Innocence Lost. You guys are doing it right. You have Susan Schwartzman as a publicist. I'm telling you, Susan is big time.
It's wonderful.
So you're doing a good job. And I want to tell you this, too. I don't know if you know this or not, but out of the millions of books on Amazon, yours is number 897. So that's pretty impressive. I don't know if you realized that it was 897. I mean, to the average person, 897 seems like a high number. That's a very low number. This organization has millions of books. So good for you. What do you hope comes from the readership? What do we need as a country to change anything? Do we need to make good on a promise that we didn't keep?
Do you know that my public defender, I'll leave that where it's at, she actually contacted the VA, and on my discharge, I had a report that she seen that I'd been through psychiatric treatment. But when I was sentenced, none of this was ever brought to the surface. None of it.
She didn't do her
that
job.
I had been to Vietnam, that I had PTSD prior to attempted suicide. Nothing was brought to the attention of, we are sentenced a veteran here, a combat veteran.
Exactly. And this all happened here in Marion County?
Yes, sir. Right.
And when did this happen? When did the legal troubles happen for you?
That I attempted, this is ironic too, tomorrow is Easter Eve. I shot myself on Easter Eve, 6 o'clock in the afternoon.
What year?
2014.
Wow. So only 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. And
Wow.
I see a probation officer monthly that charges me $52. I'm on a 15. Here's something else. I'm on a 15-year no contact with my family, which I was married to my wife until she sued me for divorce afterwards. And I lost my home. It cost me bankruptcy, and I was actually homeless when I got out of jail.
Oh, my.
Wow.
But I had succeeded up to that point. But the severity of this charge lowered my credentials that much.
Are you being requested to speak with other veterans who might be going through something similar to give them hope?
No, not really. I'm hoping Linda's supposed to get a web page, I think, this week sometime, and I'm hoping to hear through that web page the response from the veterans out there. I still see a psychiatrist, by the way, but that is, I hope, the way of communication.
We have an amazing veterans community in Ocala. I hope that they know your story. Or if not, I hope you say hello to meet them. You met one already, Joe Martone.
Yes, sir, I did.
Is Vice President of Vets Helping Vets. That's an amazing organization. Just an hour ago or so, they were in the studio doing their show. So hopefully you... do you know any of them? And do you...
No, sir, I don't.
Oh, my gosh. I think you would serve everybody well, yourself and them, because they've got so many Vietnam vets that probably have gone through the same thing. I remember one year we did a Vietnam vets special, and the host of that special asked all the guys in the room to tell what they remembered about Vietnam. And none of them wanted to remember the bad stuff. They all said, "Oh, the mornings were beautiful," and it was so ironic because they all had been shot or had some kind of an incident that happened to them that you would think that they'd say, "Oh yeah, I remember the day I got shot in my neck." Holy mackerel! They didn't say that. They said, "I remember the beautiful sunrises."
I do not. I don't pass any veteran that I see a baseball cap or whichever about Vietnam that I don't go. I'll park a vehicle. I'll do anything to go out and personally shake hands with him. And the tradition is to say, "Welcome home, brother."
Absolutely.
And I do go to that extreme.
Well, welcome home, brother.
Welcome home, brother.
And thank you for your
made
service.
It. You made it.
And this is going to be giving people a unique opportunity to meet you on April 7th at the Bellevue Public Library to purchase your book. And if they have anything that they need help with, you're a really great person to give them guidance.
Well, I'll do anything I can do to help them. Trust me, I will.
I think the writing that you've done is going to help people just based on what we've read. And I haven't gone through what you've gone through or what they've gone through, but it looks like I don't know what it is about the human beings, but we're made whole again when we find out that we're not alone, you know?
Exactly.
If that makes sense. The book is for sale on Amazon. Oh my gosh, the time just flies when it's a good interview, Robin.
It does, very much.
Innocence
so.
Lost. Linda Gosson is the name of the author. You don't mind me saying that the actual author is Dan, right?
Right.
Dan Addair. So it's confusing because you look at it, and so you both will be at the Bellevue Library a week from Saturday.
Yes.
You know, Lee Schwartz, by the way, you're having good luck with people with Schwartz in their name. Lee Schwartz, such a great man in our community. I mean, he recognizes the importance of books. No wonder he's a librarian, and he recognizes the important books. So I'm so glad that you're part of his program. How many authors do you know, Robin, are going to be
I don't know how many authors.
Do you know, Linda, how many authors will be there?
No, I do not.
Well, I know two will be there. Dan Addair and Linda Gosson will be there. Linda, am I saying your name right?
Yes, you are.
So everybody buy the book. Let's help out. $52 a month for a probation officer? That's crazy. How come our tax dollars don't pay for that?
I wonder when I
Did I ask a sensitive question?
see. I've got. It's only 3.5 years. I've got a long time to go yet.
But I think, ironically, I don't think people know this. He was charged $50 a day for every day he was incarcerated to pay for his room and board, and there was a lien put on the house for over $11,000.
Oh, my.
Well, that's all. On addition to that, the $52 a month for the
Right.
3.5 years I've already paid goes on
yeah.
top of that. Marion County's bleeding. How can you take and sentence a man like this and then take everything he has and expect him to come back and get on his feet again?
You paid everything you
My
would ever
God.
need to pay just by what you did in Vietnam.
It's by serving our country.
That's what I think. We did you wrong by not thanking you for your service. We did you and your colleagues in Vietnam wrong by somehow buying into this thing that what the government did was to blame on the soldiers.
Right.
I couldn't believe it. Nobody else that's heard this story can believe it either, but still yet, as we speak, it's going on. So.
Innocence Lost, you brought a book in. Do you want me to give it away, or would you like it back? I can give it away to a listener right now.
You may give it away to a listener.
If you call me right now, I will pick one of you at random, and you will get the book. It's called Innocence Lost, and you can also meet Dan and Linda down in Bellevue. Oh my gosh, look at the phones lighting up.
Yeah, from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. on Saturday, April the 7th.
All right, let me pick one at random. It's impossible. Sorry, everybody. Hey, you know what you do? Go buy the book. I found it on Amazon. It's only $10 as a Kindle, $12.95 as a paperback. Good morning. You've got the book. Who's this?
This is Marshall.
Marshall. You know where we are, right?
Yes.
Okay, Marshall, you've got the book. It'll be coming. It'll be waiting for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both. I'm so glad you were not successful with the suicide. I think you're making a huge contribution again with your life. You've already given us more than most people give, and now you're doing more.
I thank the Lord every day, more than once a day. Trust me, more than once.
Robin, we have a viral video. This is going to get watched a lot. Linda Gosson and Dan Addair, thank you both
Thank
for
you.
coming in
Thank
here.
you.
And Dan, thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We will take a little break. We'll be right back. This is The Source, WOCA Ocala.
Get it for less at the DIY Home Center outlet. Get top quality real wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY, only $4.99. Plus, DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
Ocala Aviation now has opportunities for flight instructors.
Wait, hold on, Brad. Is this correct? You're looking for instructors, not students?
Actually, we're looking for both.
Well, that's descriptive.
Well, I need flight instructors because we're now affiliated with a major university and can offer 4-year degrees. Plus, we're also approved to work directly with VA students.
Okay, so a degree in what, and what's a VA student?
Well, it's a bachelor's degree in aeronautics, which includes a commercial pilot's license, and there's financial aid available. By VA students, I mean veterans. They now have access to new benefits to pay for flight training.
Okay, so you have new opportunities for new students. What about the instructor side of it?
Well, with new students, we need